Jessup Softball continues their red-hot month of April. Jessup Track and Field prepares for their biggest meet of the year, and Matt Horrocks and I sit down and talk about the top moments from the 2014-2015 campaign. All this and more on the final episode of the season. This is Warrior Nation. Welcome, Warrior fans, to Warrior Nation, the show that covers everything that is anything sports right here at William Jessup. We have reached the end of the year, but still got a lot to talk about, so we'll get right into it with softball. Jessup Softball hosted Arizona Christian earlier this week, a Firestorm team that sat a game above the Warriors in the GSAC standings. Coming into that game, Jessup had won 7 of their last 9 games, and in Game 1, there were no hits through the first 5 innings until Shelby Grafman got on base with a lead-off double and was knocked home for the game's first run. In the top of the 6th inning, Arizona Christian bounced back nicely with 2 home runs and a 4-run frame to take a 4-1 lead, and Jessup answered that Arizona Christian barrage with 2 home runs of their own off the bat of Racy Carroll and Brittany Lamar, taking a 5-4 lead into the top of the 7th. The Warriors were 1 strike away from winning that game when Jasmine Aguilar launched a 1-run homer to tie the game at 5-5. In the bottom of the 7th inning, a base runner on was all that Racy Carroll needed to knock in the walk-off RBI, and the Warriors would take Game 1 by a final of 6-5. Game 2 was another slow start for both teams. Offenses really could not get going until extra innings, and Jessup defense was a big major reason for that. Catch by Clarissa Blacara at third stopped 2 runs from scoring, and then in the 6th inning, Courtney Olsen-Whirling caught a fly ball all the way in deep center and gunned down a runner trying to tag up at third to keep the game at 0-0, which opened the door for Jessup to walk off yet again in extra innings, this time the bottom of the 9th. Racy Carroll again was the hero with the walk-off single, and Jessup won the game 1-0. That's now 9 of the last 11 games that the Warriors have won, and because they swept Arizona Christian, that puts them above ACU for playoff contention. They host San Diego Christian on Saturday, which is their final series of the season, and 1 win in that 2-game series guarantees them a spot in the playoffs. Well, it's been another amazing season here for Jessup Athletics, and we invited Matt Horrocks back one last time this season to share his top moments from the 2014-2015 campaign. Well, it's been a roller coaster of a 2014-2015 Jessup sports year. A lot of great moments, also a lot of struggles, as it was the first year in the Golden State Athletic Conference for William Jessup University, as we have Matt Horrocks, who was the Assistant Sports Information Director and your sports writer online at jessupathletics.com for the entire year. And Matt, great to have you with us. We're going to take the time to relive some of our top moments from a very, very exciting year. So Matt, why don't you get us started? What is one of your top moments from this year?
A top moment for me that stands out is something we haven't ever seen before, and that was on January 23rd. We had the first ever baseball game in the history of William Jessup. I'm a big baseball fan. I think you know that, Matt. So to have a baseball team here was pretty cool, and they started the year down at San Diego Christian, had their first game here in Marysville a week later against Vanguard. And it's just pretty cool to see something that you always heard rumors about to finally come to fruition.
Yeah, one of the great announcements that they made actually in the middle of last year, teaming up with big names like Jerry Manuel to make Jessup baseball actually happen. And then finally, it was good to transition from all the talk and all the speculation to actually physically having a team and getting the guys out here and starting the program. It was a bit of a rocky start for them, which we expected, trying to find their identity not only in the Golden State Athletic Conference, but also as a program as a whole. So obviously great to have them as a part of William Jessup Athletics. One of my top moments, we're going all the way back to the fall, and we're talking actually on this field. It was senior day when Kara Eskenazi was a goal away from capturing the record for the total amount of goals scored by a women's soccer player in their career, and it was the final game of the season, and Kara hadn't scored in 2 or 3 games, and it looked like, oh no, she may not actually get this goal, and it came right at the very end of that game. It was a goal that she got right in the upper corner to win the game and to finally capture that record.
Yeah, I remember that goal pretty well. It was against Biola, and a game that we really weren't supposed to win.
Yeah.
I remember earlier that year at Biola, Kara scored a big goal, which put us back in the game, and we unfortunately dropped that one. But yeah, that goal ended up giving us the chance to win the game and defeat Biola, and it got her the record. It was one of the greatest goals that I've seen here just because of the emotional factor of it.
Yeah.
And also, looking back at it, you got to go back and watch the video of it because it was one of the most bizarre goals I've actually ever seen, how she played the keeper out of the box and everything.
Yeah, Eskenazi, a great talent. She had a great career here, and very good way for her to leave her last mark, a record that she certainly deserves. Back to you, another one of your top moments here.
Another one of my top moments is one that I feel like not a lot of people are going to think about, and it's volleyball, actually. Volleyball had a rough year. They only had 1 win.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, volleyball not only played the first GSAC game in the history of the school, they also got the first GSAC win when they defeated San Diego Christian in that gym right back there. So volleyball is going to be etched in the history books of the school as being the first.
And I think it's easy to undermine how important that first win was. And we saw firsthand this year just the quality of talent that's in the Golden State Athletic Conference across the board. I mean, we're talking at least one, in most sports, there are at least 2 teams that were nationally ranked in the NAIA in the Golden State Athletic Conference. So this conference was the real deal. So for any team to get a win, let alone women's volleyball, was just certainly a huge, huge feat for them.
Yeah.
So finally, the last moment for myself has to be during basketball. We're talking homecoming game, great atmosphere at the gym. Tyler Jennings' buzzer beater, which was just an absolutely incredible shot at the end. Needed a 3 to tie that game to send it to overtime. It was a very, very difficult shot. Leaning away from the basket, had to shoot it over a 6'5" defender. Had a really tough look at the basket, but managed to get that to fall. We got a lot of good different videos, a lot of good different angles at that shot, but the best moment, just the eruption of Warrior Arena, really the loudest we saw it get there all year.
Yeah, that was the best atmosphere I saw all year, and I encourage everyone to make it like that next year. That was by far the greatest game I've ever seen there. I've seen a lot of good games, but still, I don't know how that shot went in. He just was falling out of bounds. He shot that. It looked like he was going to fall onto the Jessup bench at times.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the beginning of the Tyler Jennings show. I mean, he went off in the first overtime period. Coach Von Vogt gave him a little bit more responsibilities in the next couple games. And that was the defending back-to-back national champions in our house. So for us to take them to overtime and even double overtime, even though we lost on a buzzer beater of their own, it was still pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I think the development of Jennings definitely speaks to how strong of a season that Jessup Athletics had as a whole, developing players and really getting better. At the beginning, it was a rough start, a learning curve, but towards the end, pretty much on all levels, every single team was able to adapt and kind of understand and come into what it takes to be successful. Finally, just before we go, Matt, a lot to look forward to this offseason and going into next year. Early predictions. How well is Jessup Athletics going to be able to come into next year? Are they going to be more competitive? What are you looking forward to come 2015, 2016?
I think for the next year, there's going to be a little bit better than it was this year because I think it was a little harder to get recruits in because we hadn't really put our foot in the door yet for the GSAC.
Right.
So a lot of people saw that we're kind of a force to be reckoned with, even though we were really bottom of the pack this year. But I think that the talent is going to be there. Either the guys that are coming back or the guys that we're bringing in. I know a lot of the coaches have been working really hard and getting recruit visits in here. I look at some of the teams putting up a big fight, specifically like soccer and basketball, really. Teams that have been exciting for the last couple of years, but basketball had the best start in school history this year.
Yeah.
And you know that from our conversations, Coach V is hungry and he wants more wins.
Yeah.
So like I said a couple times, that guy was a couple seconds away from 3 or 4 more wins. So I think basketball is the thing I'm really looking forward to just give you one real big one.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have this guy by my side all season long. It's been awesome having him join us consistently throughout Warrior Nation. Look forward to that carrying into next year. Look forward to seeing what Jessup Athletics brings. Before we know it, it's going to be the fall, the start of soccer and all the fall sports. So keep it tuned, and also check out jessupathletics.com to stay tuned with everything going on during the summer. Well, Warrior Nation may be coming to an end, but Jessup Track and Field still has the GSAC Championship meet to look forward to this weekend, and it has been a phenomenal season for the track and field team. Individual records broken across the board, school records broken as well. A team that we have said looks the most ready for Golden State Athletic Conference competition. We won't be able to bring you all the results on Warrior Nation, seeing as how this is our last show. However, JessupAthletics.com is where you can go next week to see the recap and all the results from that championship meet. As for right now, we wish that team the best of luck over the weekend and hope that they can bring us home some GSAC gold. Thus ends Season 2 of Warrior Nation, and all of us here at the William Jessup Athletic Department would like to thank you for your continuing support of Jessup Athletics throughout this season. We look forward to having you back with us for Season 3 of Warrior Nation debuting this fall. But until that point, you can keep up to date with everything Jessup sports over the summertime on JessupAthletics.com. The Jessup Athletics media team and I want to personally thank you for tuning in and making all of this possible, and can't wait to see you in just a couple of months. Until then, have a fantastic summer. We love you. God bless, and go Warriors.